Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Intertribal Talk. It is a beautiful and great day and time to be Indigenous. We are missing our co-host Cody tonight, but in the studio we have the famous Shane Miller.
Word up.
Hey, Shane. How's
it going? Good. How you doing?
Oh, peachy keen, peachy keen. I'm super excited to have you in here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for the invite.
Awesome. I'm really excited to have you here. A huge fan of your food. I'm a sucker for your fries. I was just telling you that. I feel like after I eat them, I don't get sick because like I've got so much garlic and onions in my system, and I'm a real sucker for garlic.
Probably don't get a lot of things with the garlic.
Yeah. You know what? Seriously, nothing beats your fries.
Thank you.
Super
Thank you very much.
Awesome. So how's it going? What's going on in Shane's world?
Life's good. We're plugging away through winter here like everybody else. We got hit with restriction again. Events got canceled. Between the fires and then the re-hit of restrictions, a little gloomy for a bit, but just plug away every weekend, try to keep going, and summer's going to be around the corner here again, and things will pick up again, and we'll get back on schedule, right? Hopefully more events will be opening up here soon, ball tournaments, stuff like that. So we're looking forward to springtime and the summer, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Actually, how was that? I was actually going to ask you that anyways. Through the fire season, how long did you guys hang out at your location?
It was tough because I was going through some growing pains, learning, I just celebrated 1 year. This August would have been 1 year. End of August would have been 1 year anniversary, but we were on evacuations during the anniversary, so I never really got to celebrate. And but it was tough because we were going through growing pains. The engine wasn't running right on my food truck. I was trying to get that changed. Things weren't going good, and timing and evacuations. It was crazy for a bit, man. Swear, up in Silver Star, half an hour, 40-minute drive to get down to the other business, and then it's trying to appreciated that I was allowed to go back into the fire zone to get my food truck so I could get it back out to get it worked on. That was a big thing, but then we got evacuated out of the spot I was allowed to work on. So it was pretty crazy, but we pushed through that, and things started looking up again, and then we got hit with the round of this stuff with December here or whatever. And
yeah.
Now, we're just looking for the end of this and, stay positive, and we'll look for better days coming.
This is that time of year where we all are kind of plugging along, and just spring's just around the corner, and I feel like everybody is just chomping at the bit to get outside and get some sun. I know a lot of us, we've been seasonal depression is such a thing. I know I experience it. A lot of people I know experience it. Do you ever experience seasonal depression?
Yeah. Of course, I'm a ball player. Every ball player is you want summertime, right?
Yeah.
But you compound that with what's going on in the world, right? The COVID depression and everything like that. It's starting to add up on everybody, and it's starting to manifest it in today's society, what's going on in Ottawa and the border crossings and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, that stuff scares me.
It's pushing depression. It's tough, like you said, it's people are hurting. They need to go back to whatever's normal, right?
It's
whatever
sad
their
to
normal
see.
is, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad to see everything that's going on in the world, but that's also where comfort food comes in.
Yeah, well, that's what I try to provide, the comfort food. I'm not a healthy food truck, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, your fries are healthy as hell. Those are very healthy.
You get the garlic and the cheese, but
it's like a fry salad, really. Yeah.
Oh, people load the chili and all different kinds of stuff on the fries there, man.
Oh yeah, that is so good. I love it. So can you tell everybody a little bit about your business, what it's called, how you came to be a food truck operator?
So my name's Shane Miller, and I started this journey probably about 6 to 8 years ago, maybe. I had life-changing surgery. It really opened my eyes to stuff, but I had some tumors removed out of my spine, and it was benign tumors, but it was in a special spot where if they got any bigger or they weren't attended to, I might have been able to lose the use of my legs. So it was really scary for me, and the way we got told was even scarier because I was having a problems with my lungs. I think I had pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
And then ended up going into the hospital. And they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, check me out. Here's this." Took some X-rays and all that kind of stuff, and then sent us home. You're okay. Take these pills, right? If it doesn't stop, come back.
Yeah.
Well, we get a phone call about 1:30 that night, and it's the special surgeon or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, Mr. Miller, we need you to come back in because we found tumors." And then I was a cigarette smoker at that time, right? So you hear the word tumors. I was smoking, like, it's I'm dying, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, we made it through that, and I had to make a choice, like, to continue into construction and to become a carpenter, which I was trying to be. But they've cut through some nerves and some cartilage in my ribs, and I had like a tube through a hole, like almost like a bullet hole. It feels like through my side of my rib cage here, where the one other tube was.
Yeah.
And things aren't the same. Trying to lift overhead and stuff like that, and now
yeah.
So I had to make a choice, and then it was like so starting to heal up, and it came crunch time to where like, what are you gonna do? And at that time, there was a need for somebody to help cook for the programs or do the programs, like cook for the band programs and stuff like that. So that's where I started out. I said, okay, well, yeah, let's do this. So I started out doing that, and that led to an entrepreneurship contest. So first time I entered the entrepreneurship contest from Community Futures, I didn't even make it to the second round or anything, I don't think, that time. But I didn't know nothing about business. I didn't know anything. So it was like,
you just jumped in.
Yeah, I went in and said, this is my idea. But like, then when it came down to getting like your marketing, your cash plan, sales projections, like all these things, I didn't know about.
Super technical. Yeah.
And like, again, some of the other markets you could turn to maybe some past statistics about, there's so many people drink this Pepsi here, or, you know what I mean? Well, when you're talking Bannock and indigenous foods, there's not really too many places you can turn to, or like, for Indian tacos, like in our region, like how many people eat Indian tacos?
To know the market of that?
Yeah, to try to guess, well, I think this many people. So it was like, it was a failure. And then.
My thing is, though, it's like, who doesn't love Indian tacos, though?
Yeah, once we get them out there, like, we're starting to get them out there to people, a lot of people, like doing a lot of catering around Vernon, which, like for school boards, companies, stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
So it's starting to get out there. But I was saying, like, I went into that contest, and then I'm like, okay, so, I'm not satisfied with just losing. I know I have an idea. So then it was like, someone's like, well, oh no, that time I went set up at the ballpark.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember me when I was set up at 6 Mile Ballpark. I had the taco stand, and
yeah,
that was after the pizza joint closed on West Side Road. We had no food. So that summer, I set up the tent, and I just kind of had like a roadside taco stand, and we did pretty good. I had people driving from like Falkland because they heard about the bacon and egg or whatever, right? And so we did good, and then someone was like, well, why don't you try your hand at the farmer's market? So I'm like, okay. So we started selling Bannock at the farmer's market, and we were received really well. Like, it went pretty good.
Awesome. That's quite the lively environment there, too. Like, you think of old-timey farmers markets, and you think back to, like, the pilgrimy days where people just kind of sauntered around. And then you look at farmers markets now, I swear they are busier than the grocery store.
Oh, yeah, they're vibrant, man. It's pretty cool. Like, you meet a lot of cool people. They have a lot of cool things to offer, different produce, arts and crafts. So it's a pretty cool environment. I really enjoyed being at the farmer's market.
That's awesome. I really love that. What inspired you to get into the food truck business? Like, where did that inspiration start?
So I knew by, like, you can call it the trial run that the summer, working on the reserve ballpark with the taco stand. I knew I had a good idea, and I knew that I could make something work.
Yeah.
So we started in the farmer's market. I think I did a year in that, and then I wanted to take another shot at the Community Futures thing again. So I'm like, man, like, some of the, I don't know if it comes stipulations or whatever the criteria for the contest is, like, bring something new or revive another industry or something like that. And I really figured I had a good idea. Like, we don't have no indigenous foods in the city, right? Like, we've never been part of building of the municipality foundation, right? So I'm like, well, but
Time to indigenize
Yeah,
the farmer's
so
market.
we entered, man. So then I come back loaded, man. I come back with guns fired. Like, I had a great presentation. I made it to the finals. Like,
Nice.
my numbers were correct, right? Like, and then, bam, no, I was fourth. And I was
Hey,
deflated, man.
that's okay though, because like from going from the first try where you didn't make it into the next round, and then just having that tenacity and that drive to go in there and do it again, and then even though you ended up fourth, it didn't stop you. Like you're still going.
Well, it comes down to like, I'm not a quitter, so run for that. Like, I don't like to quit. I always tell my kid Millers, don't quit. No matter what, if you lose or you're not the best, like we don't quit. We finish it. You can say you done it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, yeah, we come in fourth, and I was deflated. I won't lie. I was like, man, like what do I need to do to say like this is a great idea? And then one of the like I was trying to get kind of like a cafe style, like that's kind of what I wanted. But one of the feedbacks from the judges was like, you probably do, I see you better as a food truck or whatever. And I kind of, yeah, whatever. I didn't really like that idea at that time. I was kind of stubborn and this is the way I will see it, right? Yeah. But after some, consultation with the wife, and she kicked me in the butt, said, get off your ass and pick up your lip, and,
Wives are good at that.
This ain't you. What are you going to do about it now, right? We've done this. You've lost. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
So I carried on at the farmer's market, and it picked up some pretty good steam. And then I think we did about a year or two at the farmer's market. Then I was like, well, started finding out about these other places where, Indigenous people may have a better chance of getting a loan if you don't have equity and stuff like this, right? So
yeah,
I was like, well, it doesn't hurt. Let's try, right? So I, applied for some information package and some applications, and then I sent it off. It was like a $300 application, and I'm just like, well, here goes $300, but we tried, right?
We're gonna flip this.
Yeah, but like I'm like, here goes 300, like to the applications, like I'm just gonna get denied, right? So I'm just like, but she's like, just never mind, don't be negative right off the bat. So I'm just like, okay,
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I stuck it out at the farmer's market for a while, and then one day, but I got to tell about filling out the application. So what I was unbeknownst to me, because, I was just slowly getting into the business stuff. Well, I didn't realize that I already had a great business plan, business model, and I had some marketing stuff like I've been doing for a couple of years, but I never really understood that at the time. Like, okay, they're like, well, so then like when I, inquiring to get all these stuff together, like marketing, sales stuff. Everyone's like, well, what you got from the market? Well, I'm like, oh, okay. Then it all started clicking, right? Oh, okay, I get this now. Okay. Yeah. And then from there, it was like, okay. So then filled it all out. I said, here, this is what I'm making already. So it wasn't even projection sales. Like, here's my already sales from the 2 days a week I do at the farmer's market. So then
you had something to
build
off
I had something
of.
concrete to say, hey, look, this is what I'm already getting, and I think if I can get a food truck, I can get a little bit more with this. And
yeah.
So then that worked out. Well, I come home one day, and I don't know, I was probably pouting around still, but I got a phone call, and they said, Shane, we're going to work with you and help you. And then that was like right on. Like, and then it's
got the wind in your sails again.
To the races then, right? You know what I mean? It's been...
Yeah. And
we're here now, right? Like,
I know, I see that all the time. You guys are always busy over there. That's wicked.
Yeah, like I do weekends on the weekend, or like through the winter time, just to try to create a little more demand, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, we're trying. Summertime, it gets pretty hopping. We have a few different locations we go visit, right? So
right on. What locations are? Where are the locations that people can find you at?
Well,
most often.
Most often, like I go to Enderby, Winfield, and West Bank, but gas prices are pretty high right now, and so I'm kind of, 50-50 if I really want to travel.
Yeah.
But I make a few people do hire me to come to their places sometimes, so that's what I do. Like, so it's been a pretty cool adventure. Like, I've got to go out of town, even like hired by other reserves to come cater for their people. Like, in the time of COVID, it was cool. Like reserves are on lockdown. All they could offer. Couldn't have, family gatherings and family community feasts and stuff like that. And I got to go up and serve Indian tacos takeout style, right? COVID friendly, right? It was
Yeah.
awesome. Like we've got to do some pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome. I know everybody, I love seeing everyone's posts, like after they visit your places. Like even my friends in town that aren't on the res too, like when they go out and visit your spot and I see them post it, it just makes me so happy.
Yeah, I me too. Like I was saying, when I was sent you that thing there, it's like get so much positive,
Yeah.
so much positive energy, man. Like, it's so crazy.
Do you want me to read that out right
Yeah,
now?
sure,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
want.
for sure. We'll do that. Let's go here.
It's like you get so much positive energy from people you don't know, and it's
Yeah.
at first like I didn't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to understand, coming from a place where I come from, negativity and a little bit of chaos and drama, like that was life,
Yeah.
right? And then when it's flipped 180 to positive, and it's crazy. It's get overwhelming it when you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
And that's like when we first started out, and like you're saying, all the people are like, "Oh my god!" Like, you know what I mean, coming up, this is great, and getting messages. Like I start falling to the wife, like I can't handle it. I'm not used to this. Like this is, it's
like I call
it's a
this
high.
Yeah,
It's a high.
I call it a dump load of blessings,
Yeah,
because it's
man,
like
it's a-
there's almost so many that you can't keep track and keep up with it.
It's like a positive high that it's just overwhelming, and it's just like if I could share it with anybody going
Yeah.
through a hard time, like I wish I could share that feeling. You know what I mean?
But you did though, with like you were inviting artists and other entrepreneurs out to the Miller Market over the summer. I had fun doing that.
We tried to do that. Yeah, you come. Cody came. We got Les, Bonnie.
He's got some wicked salsa.
Yeah, oh man, that salsa's great. Our partner Les there, and
It's what is it?
sensational salsa, I think he calls it. I'm pretty sure.
Sensational
Yeah.
salsa. Yeah, it's super
Les
super
Marshall,
good.
salsa.
Heck yeah. I'm gonna read that thing that you sent me
Okay.
here. Okay, so it goes. This is the one that you sent. It is. Oh, hold on. I gotta scroll. Okay, there. Hello, Shane. I just wanted to reach out to you. We've been building for the last year out in West Shore. I've been following your posts for the year prior. I've been impressed with how you present your food, how clean your workspace appears in pictures, and your determination in promoting yourself. We've been in Victoria over the winter, but look forward to meeting you personally and supporting your business come spring. That's so cool.
No, that like just reading that, like, you know, it gives me a sense of
You're
like
getting
I'm on the right
teary-eyed.
path. Yeah, man, like 'cause it's so
I love
it's
that,
crazy.
Shane.
Like it's like you hear that, like the dude don't even know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
know, and like just crazy.
I get goosebumps with that kind of stuff too, because it does. It's like, you know what? It's not just validation, but it's just like you get to tick something off of your bucket list and just be like, wow, like I'm doing it, you know?
Well, it's the validation part, because then
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing is right. Like, you know what I mean? There was no one that ever messaged me and said, "Hey, Shane, I love boozing and stuff." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got what'd you do last night? You were so drunk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
Well-
that's like I said, that's a total 180 from what you used to do. You know what I mean? Like,
How many people do you get that come by for their sobering up Bannock? Because, you know, nothing treats...
the bros, and they all still come by. Yeah,
Yeah.
different times a day and different attitudes, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. But yeah, no.
It's good, though, because it's like you get to keep an eye on them, making sure they're fed.
Yeah, that's the first thing I look at them. Here, have some Bannock and fill that tummy up, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and you know what? That's one thing that I've been noticing is like the impact that you've had on our community. You've got another note here too. Here, let's talk this one here. So congratulations, continued prosperity, and all the best to you this coming year. And yeah, a fellow foodie and fan in waiting. So yeah, like this is so cool. It's like you've got fans from all
That's
over.
what I mean. Like, so, like it's awesome to watch grow. Like,
Yeah.
the purpose behind it is to build a foundation that maybe something my children will want to grow even bigger.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can grow it big for whatever it may be, that like my grandchildren,
Yeah.
it's about building a family foundation. Like, You know?
Something that lasts.
Yeah, well, something we can
Yeah.
all be proud of, something that generates money for the family, something like, that can give us all a little bit of reprieve. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not have to live paycheck to paycheck, or
Mm-hmm.
not as bad, a little bit more relaxed. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to strike it rich or whatever, but as long as we can live comfortably.
And you wanna do something you're proud of and that you're happy to do.
And like get up every day and not smiling, not, have to, putting on work boots. I got to go.
Gotta go
Do this,
make
gotta
good
go
money
do
for
that.
somebody else.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, be, replaced in a dime type kind of deal, right?
Yeah, and it's really good. Not
Mental
having
health
that
wise
stress.
too. Yeah, like it's so
Yeah.
much. You're not always, coming home, and I don't come home and unload my work day on my wife or anything like that, right? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? She said, "How was your day?" I'm like, "It was great." Like, I was feeling down. 6 customers come and said, "Thank you for being a business," or your whatever it might be. "Thank you. Your tacos are awesome." Like, how can a guy
Yeah.
stay negative when so much positive is getting thrown back at you? Like, that's
Oh, heck yeah.
it's crazy, man.
One thing I really want to try on your menu is your barbecue chicken. That, when you posted that the other day, I was like, holy crap, I need to
that's a
go
good
get
one.
me some
So,
of that.
Yeah, we smoked that one. Smoked barbecue chicken. It went
Nice.
pretty good, yeah.
Right on. Here's my next question is, what is your favorite thing to make on your menu?
Well, it's my favorite thing to make because it's my favorite thing to eat. But the spaghetti, I like to make my spaghetti,
Yeah.
but that hasn't caught on yet
Okay.
in the food truck sense. But
Yeah.
like, if I'd say like the most thing that people come back
Yep.
and give praise about is the Bannock burger. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
tacos right there too, but
Yeah.
the Bannock burger has taken over for like probably my main meal.
And
Like
that thing is a monster too.
Oh,
like
you don't come hungry and leave full, right?
yeah, 100%.
That's what that burger's all about.
Yeah, no, that, and it definitely shows too. I can't remember whose burger it was that I saw that, and I was just like, it would take me 2 days to eat that thing. Like, I hope that what's his name from that guy's the grocery, or not the grocery man, but the dude that goes and he tries food all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, he was
I
out at
think
the
a few
jamboree.
people are talked about that. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we got to get him to come and see you.
Yeah.
I bet you he's never ever had an Indian taco.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. Like, when I worked the farmer's market, I'm going to say 40 to 50% of people, maybe even a touch higher, didn't know what fry bread was.
Oh my goodness. Were they
But-
living under a rock?
Well, and I'd be like, well, so you're a new Canadian then? No, I've lived here all my life. I'm just like,
What?
like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, when I think of non-Indigenous, I think the bare minimum
Yeah.
that I think they would know is Bannock is linked to First Nations, like, because
Yeah.
that's all the way across Canada, like fry bread, Bannock, whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's all, and there's Indigenous all across Canada.
Yeah.
So like, that's the one thing I thought,
Yeah.
but
When-
I was wrong.
Yeah.
It surprised me.
One thing that bothers me is, like, I know some, like, I had this Indigenous word because I was making fry bread the other night, and I posted it to my Instagram, and I had this person who was Indigenous, but they were like, Indian, or fry bread and Bannock isn't Indigenous, right? And I was just like, well, it is, though, because it was a food that, it was like a ration food where we were given so many things to ration off of when we were put onto a reserve, that's what we survived on. So yes, it is an Indigenous food.
Well, yeah, like, it may not be
It's not like
idea. It might have been our
traditional.
idea, but
Yeah.
it's a modern contemporary dish that
Yes.
evolves through hundreds of years or
Through survival,
yeah,
too.
that, like, trappers used to use it like that.
Yeah.
That's like the most people who knew about it, were the tie between like some of the younger generations, yours, mine, and then the
Yeah.
older generations, because they knew it like the baking soda way. Like, I do the yeast way,
Yeah.
but the other way, you could throw it in a bag, mix it with water later down the road, and cook it over a campfire, right?
Yeah.
And then, that's what, like you were saying, we lived off it. That was,
Yeah. It was a survival food, a staple. Those were staple ingredients in almost every household on the res in those hard times, right? So yeah, of course, and it's soul food.
yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is so good. What is the next one I have? Oh, here we go. I love this. I'm excited to ask you this one. Who cooks at home? You or Danny?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, just mainly because I'm home more. Or,
Yeah.
like right now, summertime probably more her because
Yeah.
I'll be working a food truck a little later, right?
Yeah.
And then she's home with the kids, but through the wintertime and stuff, I'll do more of the cooking.
Yeah. I know.
Not because I'm a better cook. It just,
That's how it goes.
well, yeah, it's part of my duty. I'm home. I might as well cook. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they get sick of having spaghetti 4 times a week, then she'll cook, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Spaghetti again?
Ryan, honestly, he would be at your house every day if he knew how much you cook spaghetti.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, the kids, it's either make a hangover soup, hamburger soup, or make spaghetti, right? It's like,
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Let's see here too. Oh, I asked you that. Okay, so and this is actually good because this was a question that I was going to ask you, but you touched on it already, and it was how was the process of starting your business? And then you told us about your food competitions, and then learning like all of the technical stuff through that process. So it sounded like you had to jump through a lot of loops to get to where you are.
Like when you hear like roadblocks for First Nations and stuff like that from other institutions, because like I never really thought nothing of it. Right? Well, times have changed, and it shouldn't be like that. Well, so I had a pretty good business plan, like all that stuff when I lost the second time.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, I'm in Vernon, I'll go down to Community Futures, and they had a loan place, and here's everything. Like, wow, and then I didn't even like they sat down and, well, you got to go to Kamloops to the Indigenous one. And then, right off the bat, like, you know what I mean? Right off the bat, like, how discouraging is that? Like, I'm like, well, we can do it for everybody else, but you got to go, apply in the Indigenous one in Kamloops. So it's like, and then that's when I started looking into, like, my cousin, he owns a logging company and stuff like that, and he was telling me where he went, and so I started looking at ones, and I just said, well, here we go, right? Like,
yeah.
Whatever. Okay, this is the one. It's an Indigenous one. I don't have to worry. Like, people more open to help. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, it was probably best that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So I love this question as well. Motivation is such a huge thing for everybody in their daily life. Like, we all struggle with motivation, especially this time of year. So, where do you find the motivation? Because
different
you're not,
places.
you don't own just one business.
It's different. Like, I'm linked into the other business. So for the viewers or listeners, it's Hazy Valley Dispensary on West Side Road. So we're kind of partnered up because everybody else has the same business plan out there, right? So we, when we were down in the 6 Mile area, I told them, like, this is what my goal is. I'm going to food truck, and I think, I don't want to have to. I didn't want to travel all around, right? Like, I'd rather stay close to home, right? And it makes dispensary. And what a lot of people don't understand with the dispensaries all set up on the reserve is that it's created a little economic bubble, where it can sustain 1 or 2 food vendors. Like, we got On the Way. What's that one way down at Jane and them's?
Is that the Res truck?
The Res store, Res stop.
Yeah.
You got me, right? And then, so, it's like.
And then the Joe's now.
You got,
Joe Cucino.
Icy Joe's.
Oh, Icy Joe's now.
Yeah. So it's so awesome, right? Like, so, it's like on one hand, the people look at it, oh, look at all the pot shops. But on the other hand, it's created opportunities for a lot of our members. So
100%.
That's motivation there. It's just like, like, wow, like, let's show other members, like, okay, how can we capitalize on this? Like, let's not try to pick it apart.
Yeah.
Right? It's here.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I
liked that post that you made. Was that today? I think I literally saw it like as I was getting into my truck, because I was like, I sit in my truck for like 5 minutes before I go anywhere, and I put my music on, I text 10 people, do all that stuff. And I saw your post about some other dispensary owner trying to give you crap or something.
Yeah, well,
that's so stupid. Like, who would rather go shop at a place in town where everything is so super, like, I don't know, like I've bought from places in town and it was not that great. And it's crazy expensive.
For me, it's like, don't hate the players, hate the game, man. Like I didn't make the rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, and it's, to me, I think it's part of reconciliation that the government stays away and lets us do what we do. Like,
100%.
Like, you know, we're not going to get land back. So what are other ways?
No, we have to buy our land back for 200% more than what they got it for.
I was listening to something the other night there, and it was like, you know, we'll never, like, it's so entangled into the world economy.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, what are other ways? Like, we can't just sit back and, you know, how do we capitalize? So, like, that's what I wish our leadership would take a look at is, okay, these are here.
Yeah.
How do we capitalize on it? How do we get the tourism dollars out of it? How do we get, you know, the business dollars out of it? Like, I don't see nothing like that happening, right?
You know what? Like, the Okanagan is booming for so many things right now. Tourism, like, that's one thing that kind of worries me is like our taxes and like the inflation of everything that will come with the heightened tourism, because I know things are going to be opening up again here very soon. Like, you're going to have a very busy summer.
I'm hoping that's what we're hoping. Yeah.
But, you know, for everybody else too, like, you know, it makes the costs of homes more expensive. Like the, you know, overhead for other businesses that are renting spaces and whatnot too. Like, I know a lot of people are sweating bullets about that. But the Okanagan is booming in the film industry right now. And like, we actually had a movie being filmed out on OKIB. Was that last year or the year before?
I can't remember when, but yeah, there's so many different industries that.
Yeah.
How do you know, we don't have that one big ticket thing to pull us out of poverty. So what do you do? Mm-hmm. How do you get off, you know, the government funding? Like, you know, like we have to look at.
We have to be self-sustainable.
You know, I think at one time, agriculture and the cattle must have been it, right? Look at all the old farms, you know, like our grandparents' and their parents', right? But that's gone away now. Like, they're slowly
Very
dying.
select few.
So now where do we aim? You know, like what do we do? Like, we have to do something. Like,
tourism,
you know,
travel.
Everybody else around us is, I don't want to say flourishing, but like they're growing.
Yeah.
Like
we got to jump on board.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing to growing? Like I seen one post, like, you know, don't ask your people to get educated if you don't have nothing for them to come back to, right? Don't send them to college. Don't send and say, well, get back and sorry, like, you know, we don't have housing. Sorry, you're too overqualified for the band job, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
I saw this other thing too. It was kind of along those lines, and it was saying, you know, like, you have to give kids something to live for and something to look forward to. And you want them to take a look around and want to be involved in their community and want to do good for their community and stuff, right? And a lot of kids, I find that they either get so comfortable that they just want to stay there, which is totally fine. I'm one of those kids. I don't want to leave the res. I'm like you. I'd rather work from my location.
Yeah, be who we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, that's what somebody told me one time. Well, why don't, you know, his other First Nations buddy lives off the reserve, bought a house, you know, did all that. And I said, yeah, but like, why can't I just be on the reserve or be on what's supposed to be my territory and be me and practice my culture and ceremony? And like,
100%.
He didn't really understand it. And, you know, I said, like, you know, we're allowed to be us. Like, you know.
I love that too, because there's no right or wrong answer. Like, if there's people who want to go off reserve and explore that, absolutely, like, go for it. But don't shame the people who want to stay home and contribute to the
and make their home a better place.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people do leave and then come back to do that too.
Yeah, because they realize, you know, when you go out on a block, say like we're, you know, here, you know, it's not like
on the
where
block
you are now,
house.
you could run down and you get safety at grandma's or safety at cousins or safety at someone you know's house, like, you know. Yeah, like, that's why I like the reserve. It's the community, it's the spirit, it's, you know, it's home, the beauty of it. Walking up Blacktown, looking the lake, right? Like, it's so, or across the lake, looking the other way, looking back at all the homes, like that, you know.
It is. It's so peaceful. Blacktown is. I have a spot at Blacktown that I love to go, and it's like my picnic spot. I take the kids up there. I hang out with just them and by myself too. Like, I feel safe there. I feel safe because I'm at home. And, you know, I know there's going to be cousins rolling by on quads or side by side soon anyway, right? So, you know, it is like, I feel a very,
you know, everybody, it's community. Like, even though we may not talk directly, indirectly, all the time, but like, something never happened, emergency situations, our neighbors are there, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
100%. That's awesome. Actually, I want to jump in on this one now. And this is huge because this month, February, is very monumental for you. For me, like officially restarting my path to sobriety. I told myself back when I was like, my 30th birthday, that's going to be like, that's my last hoorah. And no, I was drinking on New Year's Eve and I had a mimosa at a photo shoot. And then that was when I was like, okay, I got to cap this. Like, I give in to temptation so easily just because I'm like, oh, one won't hurt. But the truth is that my body just can't handle it. And honestly, I know there's so many people going through it, and you went through this in your life as well. Like, I want to know more about your journey into sobriety, because that is something that we need to talk more about in our community. We have a lot of people like my age, your age, who are really cleaning up their life.
Yeah. There is a lot of people, and it's a long story. I hope you got like 10 episodes, though.
Yeah.
No,
Share
like,
away. The mic is yours.
when you come from growing up the way I did, alcohol was normal. Like, everything was normalized. Like, you go to work. It's okay to have a couple drinks after work. You go, you work to the weekend. It's okay to party on the weekend. It wasn't, maybe not all the time, but like that was the norm, basically, right? Like,
Yeah.
Everybody got Pizza Hut on Friday, and the adults come over, and all the cousins get to play together, right? Like, that was growing up. And
It was more of a social thing.
yeah, but like, I took it to another level. Like, I I I accumulated some trauma and some hurts and pains growing up, and I found comfort in drugs. I found comfort in alcohol. Like, you know, it allowed me to not be me, I guess,
Free
and
yourself from
yeah,
that
like,
mental
just,
prison.
yeah, like, just the, I don't know, the pain you can't see, like, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain. Like, everyone been through it will understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's a pain, it's there. It's, you grew up fatherless. Like, I carried that for years. My mom did the best she did, right? And like, a lot I've got to think about this last year, like last couple of years,
Yeah.
like, when I started my sobriety, I figured out why I was so angry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I was angry. All my anger was directed towards my mom and the way I was brought up, and my dad, who I never met, and and I guess I could use that as an excuse to get to where I was. But as I matured and I got older, and now, like, with more and more of the residential schools stuff, like, now I realize I was directed all my stuff. My anger was wrong. And like, I feel like, all that anger I directed at my mom, it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is all caused by the residential schools. Like, for many of us, or,
The trickle down.
yeah, like,
emotional
like,
abuse.
you don't
the
get
trauma.
taught to be a parent. You don't teach, you don't get taught to love. Then you don't pass it on if you don't know how, right?
You don't
like,
get to experience
and,
those monumental things
unfortunately,
as a child.
like, my mom went through some stuff, and because my grandma's a survivor of the residential school. Like, you might have seen her on the news a couple times there. She spoke about her experiences, and there was a couple TikTok things going around. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, it was hard to come to terms with, and I think that's part of the healing. Like,
Yeah.
like, I forgave my mom. Like, I had to do things like that. I was at a point, so I quit drinking for 2 years, but I'm still angry.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what do you do? Then you start figuring out, well, okay, we was First Nations, we've been done over by the residential schools, and like, okay, can't direct that anger at her. So then you gotta, what do you do with that anger?
Yeah.
Right? So I had to start talking to, counselors to deal with that anger.
Yeah.
And it's just, ever since I started doing that, man, like, I can't believe how better it's gotten. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, doors start opening, like things change when you start healing. Like, I don't know why. Like,
You
look,
start
like,
putting little puzzle pieces back together.
yeah, well, you start putting yourself together, then you start, finding a purpose. Okay, like, the cooking came along, and then the food truck, and now I feel like I got a purpose. Like, I got good food to,
Yeah.
right? And like, and it's all like, I'm 9 years into it, and it's all evolving. Like I said, like,
Yeah.
the first couple of years I was mad and angry at my mom, and like, why me? Like, most of my life was, why me? Like, why did this happen to me? Like, why didn't I get to be my father? Why did my mother do what she did and be the way she was, right? Like,
Yeah.
here's a story. Like, at 19, I thought I knew where I was pretty much in my life. At 19 years old, I went into the Barrier Bank, and I just got a check. I started working at the mill there, and then the bank teller like eyes me up and down, and I'm just like, oh my god, she's gonna not cash my check for some reason, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, Shane Miller. I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my god, we just about adopted you, and I'm just like, what?
Oh.
And I didn't know this lady, right?
Here you are thinking you're getting profiled, but really.
Yeah. So like, all these things started accumulating. Like, like, where was I as a kid, and like,
Yeah.
and all the stuff that happened when I was there. Like, what my, it was like it all accumulated, and
Yeah.
it put me in that place where drugs and alcohol would only take me away from it, right?
Yeah.
But at 19, I also met my father's side of the family too. So like, I had some significant things that kind of kept me on the straight and narrow through my life, which I paid tribute to. Like, when I lived in Merritt, the First Nations there brought me back to more like, because I came from more city life, right?
Yeah.
I never did the reserve life like till I was like 14.
Yeah.
Right? So I was city life. But when I moved to Merritt, then I started hanging around the First Nations there. Then I got me into sports, and then next thing I was going to their school and stuff like that, and like got me back into culture. Like,
Yeah.
so that was kind of pulled me back onto the right path, right?
Yeah.
But then, alcohol kind of took over when you got a little bit older at 19, and
Hanging out with
other
friends.
stuff, yeah. But then
Yeah.
I had a chance, like, by miracle. One of my aunties, dad's wife, said she knew. Like, I finally figured out. My mom finally told me who my dad was.
Yeah.
So they're like, from Vernon, and I didn't know at that time. I didn't know nobody from Vernon, and
Yeah.
my auntie said, "Well, my mom knows your grandma, or like my dad's mom." So it seemed like within like weeks or a week or so, it was like, "Bam! Oh, what? They want to meet you," and blah blah blah. And then it's like, that was a life-changing event right there too, man.
Yeah.
Like, so that was crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome. You know what? It's have you ever heard of Dr. Gabor Mate?
No.
No? I know my mom kind of got me into learning from him, and he did this workshop, and it was the wisdom of trauma, how we become wise because of our traumas, our experiences, especially the most negative ones that we've experienced in our life, makes us like healers, people who are very empathetic to other people, people who are very kind and understanding, and how we carry those hurt things in our body physically. So like people can develop actual illnesses from traumas in their life. And it's crazy too. I also follow along with Louise L. Hay, and she has this book on like how to heal your body from A to Z. And it's crazy because I looked up all of my symptoms of what I had been going on in my life, and it was crazy to see what these things were being caused by, because I experience arthritis in my hands, and I found out it was because I want to hurt people. and I did have that nickname, Debbie Dukes. And hockey, I was the goon. And it made sense though, because certain traumas in my life as a young kid, I learned I had to defend myself because nobody else was going to have my back but me. And that brought on a lot of anger and frustration and hurt as well. So like I encourage everybody, like if you have certain health problems going on, look up the book Louise L. Hay, Heal Yourself from A to Z, because there's going to be things in there that'll blow your mind. Like if you have like lower back pain, mid back pain, upper back pain, like there's like financial stress and worry, or there's certain things, you know, like, and it's actually crazy how correlated it is. And when I think of certain traumas that Indigenous people have gone through, where a lot of us share certain symptoms of illnesses, you know, it's got to be tied into those traumas that are in our DNA.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I believe, you know, it's kind of like you're saying there, like, you know, energy, like, you know, we're positive, negative energy flows through our bodies, right? Like, so, you know, when you're thinking negative stuff all the time, you can probably attract the negative things. And I think
100%.
I'm thinking that's why maybe where these tumors manifested from, like, you
Carrying
know, carried all the
anger
anger, the negative, like the confusion, like all that stuff, right? Like, I don't know.
If I find that book, I'll take a look through it, and I'll look that up for you.
I do believe that. I do believe in that now. Like, one thing, like, I made 9 years into it, and one thing I kind of, like, not really, because I've been trying to do stuff to be able to find coping skills, but, like, not going through treatment or trauma treatment, like, you know, there's one thing I kind of wish I maybe, things I might still look into doing, like, you know, just to.
It's never too late.
Because there's a lot more tools in the toolbox a guy could use, like, you'd learn and stuff, right? And and still, and then like I said, I think you're always evolving when you're sobriety, and I don't, you know, I think you're always trying to heal, right? Like
100%. So, my next question for you, Shane, is how does it feel to be sober? I want to hear all the differences that you started noticing. Start from day one. Like, did you go through withdrawals? Did you have like, did you drop one habit and then pick up another one to get through? Like, cause I know for me, I was like eating sunflower seeds like crazy when I quit smoking cigarettes. Cause it was like I had to swap one thing out.
Sweets was a big one when you quit drinking.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, cause you get so used to the sugar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But being sober has been good. Like, I don't know. I can't emphasize on how much better life's been. Like for us, like me and the wife like to say that life didn't really begin until we sobered up. Like
that's beautiful.
Seriously, like, you know, the chaos is gone, the drama's gone, right? Like
you don't feel like you're wasting a day away.
Yeah, and I don't feel like we're wasting anything anymore. Like our family's strong and united, and you know. You can feel the difference between a healthy path and a negative, or a healthy path and a non-healthy path. Like, and when you know both sides of the coin, then it's kind of hard to go back. Like this path is a way better path than the one we were on,
and financially too. I bet, like saving a ton of money.
Especially that, right? Like you know, family trips now, like you know, places like we probably would have never done before, right? Because it would have been, we're gonna stay home, drink this weekend. Stay home, drink this weekend.
Some nice powwow bling.
Yeah, man. Like, life's been way better. Like, just to see it in their children. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, man, you can see in some children that, you know, like, man, you can just see their spirits, you know, when
their parents are taking care of them.
Yeah, when they're taking care of them, when they're not, right? It's just like, oh, my God. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Sucks, because it's a catch-22, because it opens your eyes up to everything else that's wrong going around you, right? And then you just think, well, that was us, right? Like, and you can't, you know,
you don't
judge. Yeah, you can't judge, and you can't belittle, and you just hope one day, okay, well, you know, we found our way. You know, like I don't go around and like I even find it hard to use the word sobriety because I do smoke dope. So if you want to get technical, I know, but if you want to get technical, you know, right? But
I've heard that's called California sober.
yeah. But you know, like you know, going to get technical, then I'll argue the point medicine, right? Like you know, I've suffered so many traumas, I don't want to take psychological pills or whatever, right? I'd rather just smoke a joint. Okay, life's better.
I'm the
what do I
same
need
way.
to get done? Like,
I have an
right?
addictive personality, and even when I had to, like, I broke my tailbone and I had to take OxyContin,
Oh,
and that really messed me up.
Oh.
And I remember being like, I cannot take any of this.
I'll tell you one. So I sober. I think I was sobered up, but so I went in for that major surgery, right? So
Yep.
they pretty much ripped open my rib cage and cut me in half and cut through all tendons and nerves and
Jeez.
stuff. And so I was on the hydromorphines,
Jeez.
and like they give me lots because of my condition, right? So I was on that for a good 6 months, 8 months, and then they started
so
slowly.
you weren't even on this planet, technically.
Yeah, like so I had an epidural, man. So like I
Oh,
when
I've
they
had one of those.
when they took it out, like, but like they had it in because I was
Yeah.
so I could breathe, right?
Yeah.
And that was different. Like when they first
Jeez.
took out my epidural, I woke up and I couldn't move, and
Yeah.
and then when I went to bed, the ringer for the nurse was on the other side of where I couldn't reach, so I was laying there.
no.
I started crying, and then the elderly lady beside me, good, great, thank you, Lord, that she was awake, and she kind of peeked her head over. Are you okay? And I said, I can't move. Right?
Oh,
They
no.
took this out, and like I was having trouble breathing, man. It was crazy, but yeah,
Yeah.
they pop you, come in and shoot something in your IV, then oh hey, I can breathe again. Right? I'm good. Right? Like there's.
Yeah,
But
those
yeah,
epidurals, they noodle you.
Yeah, but like I got so used to being able to I need a couple in the morning, so
Yeah.
breathe and move around, go to the bathroom, right? Like
Yeah.
so then I got cut off, and then one day I got yelled at. She's like, "What the hell is your problem? Like you're so cranky, you're so this and that." And then I sat down and I started like crying a little bit. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Then it clicked. I'm having withdrawals because I was
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep at night. My legs felt like I had restless leg syndrome.
Oh,
like
that's
you know,
the worst.
toss and turn. And then I finally put
Yeah.
it together. Oh my God, this is what withdrawals must be, right? Like I never really
Yeah.
had it that bad before, and it was like, so then it was like, okay, we made it through that, and then bam, I smashed my jaw in that baseball. I got a baseball smashed at Native Canadian Fastball Champions. Broke my
One
jaw.
thing after
And
another.
then I was back on them again, right? It was like, yeah, I had a pretty good stint with oxys and pain pills. It was pretty
Shoot.
tough.
Jeez, yeah, no doubt. And it's that's crazy that you had an epidural. I had one epidural, and that was when I was giving birth to Winter, and like that thing works pretty instantly.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember like getting mad at the nurse that was doing it for me because I was like, "Have you done it yet?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was done a while ago." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah,
Like,
no, it's
I'm
like,
noodled apparently. So
yeah, medicine's amazing. Like I had a tube going through my ribs. I had like an 18-inch gash from my pretty much my spine to the front of my chest here.
jeez.
Yeah, man. I was like, oh my God, like scared. Don't take that thing out. I was scared. Like, please
Yeah.
don't take it out. Like, I won't be able to breathe. I know I won't be able to breathe, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That panic too, because you're immobilized, right? So it's kind of like you're
well,
helpless.
it's like anything. So it's all frozen.
Yeah.
And then it's like a frozen tooth there. It's like you're gonna feel it once it unthaws, right? I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, and that's what happened. I tried to stay awake. No, I'm not gonna go to sleep because I'm gonna be hurting. And then I ended up falling asleep and then woke up, couldn't reach the buzzer, pretty much paralyzed.
Oh my
it's scary.
gosh, I couldn't imagine that. That's yeah, no, I think I told my OxyContin story here in one of the episodes Cody and I did, and it was I accidentally overdosed on them because I guess I was so noodled when I took the first set that I forgot that, and then I took another. And I'm somebody who doesn't even like really take Advil or anything. So
Hits you hard.
it does, like it's like when you're somebody who doesn't drink and you have one beer and you drop to the floor. That's kind of what it was like for my body. And I'm somebody like, and I don't shame anybody that has to take over-the-counter prescription or anything like that. For some people, they need that. But for me, it was not it wasn't an option. Like I couldn't. And, even still, like I will not even take an Advil. If I can get by on like my weed or gummies or like some CBD oil, I will do that first before I try anything else.
Yeah, definitely. And it's totally so easy so easy to get hooked because those things make you feel so good. Like,
Yeah.
one pill from, oh,
Yeah.
right on. Let's go. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure all I did was lay in bed and watch movies when I was on Oxycontin.
Yeah, not me.
No, I found too, like they made me kind of sick and nauseous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the oxys. Yeah.
Yeah. And like Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth was even worse. Like Cottonmouth with Oxycontin was worse than, having Cottonmouth after you smoke a joint.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one thing that I found. But yeah, no. So how are things going at Hazy Valley?
We're going good. Like,
I really like Mike.
yeah, it's the customer service, right?
Yeah.
Like, we brought in Michael, and he does really good. Like,
Yeah. Like one of the most genuine, kindest human beings I'm pretty sure I've ever met on this planet. He's so happy and smiley every time you pull in.
Quotes from him. He's amazing. That's
Yes.
his favorite word. It's amazing.
I love it. And I love when was that him? Was he flying the drone around when we were there? Was that him or was that somebody else?
Which one was that?
I can't remember.
That might have been someone else. Or no, he might have been flying the drone around that one time.
Yeah.
We've had so many people do the drone work at the different people. Like, we had my brother-in-law were at his sister's and at my sister's house there, and I didn't even know. All of a sudden, there was a drone over top of us, and then I'm like, who's this? And we're looking around the parking lot, and then it's like somebody's spying on us. And then we started throwing snowballs and stuff, and then I get a text, hey, it's me. Oh, sorry.
That's awesome. It's like, I'm being attacked.
But yeah, like, it's going good. It's one day at a time, right? Like,
yeah.
We still get hassled by some of the store owners in town who don't agree with the provincial or the federal government's rules. And
you know what? Tough bananas, you little people.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
You don't hate the players. I hate the game. Like, we didn't make the rules. Like, I don't see them kicking an uproar that we don't have clean drinking water. I don't see them kicking an uproar that, funding needs to be increased. Inflation has gone up. Like, you know what I mean? I don't see them making other uproars, but only until, and it's an industry where there's enough for everybody.
That's like where they say in the Hunger Games is remember who the real enemy is. Remember who the real enemy is. I'm not your enemy. Look to your government. Make those changes there.
Yeah, and it's like, it's the same kind of thing that falls under gas and ciggies.
Yeah.
We pay no tax or whatever on that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's been a rule. Like, so how different is this? It's the same thing, but just it's weed. Like, okay, we don't have to pay tax. We don't have to abide by the provincial government rules. So, like, just leave us alone. Like,
yeah, we're not harming you.
You always say, they want, why can't Indigenous, people, create wealth for themselves. Well, now we're trying, but now because,
and now everyone's pissed off about it.
Just because the game's fixed for once in our favor, once in our favor. You take a look at all big industries.
Yeah.
How many of them are Indigenous owned?
Yeah.
Take a look at all municipalities. Like, how many Indigenous businesses or Indigenous whatever are built into the foundations of the municipalities in BC or across Canada? Like,
100%.
We weren't, and like that was one of the purposes of the food truck was.
Yeah.
I'm parked at the edge of the reserve. Now, if my people want, they can stop and not have to cook it themselves and get an Indian taco or get a Bannock burger, right? Like,
hey, we've got our guys out there working and having jobs and doing this. I want to get them fed.
Well, like, I'm 44 years old. So I can never remember a time when everyone had said, hey, let's go get something Indigenous to eat while we're in town.
Yep.
How many times when you were a kid were you taken to get an Indian taco at a restaurant in town?
Never.
Right? Like, it was at powwows. Powwows, maybe the ball tournament. Like,
community gatherings.
Yeah, community dinners, right? Like, so like, that was like one of the other main drives. It's like, why, it's time we as Indigenous people start appearing in all these different industries and showing, hey, like, we can do it too, or maybe even better, right? Like,
Well, you see it too, like the booming industry thing too. Like movies are booming in the Okanagan. You see daily postings of Indigenous casting calls, and it's amazing seeing how many of our people are applying for these jobs and applying for these casting calls and whatnot too. I do believe that there are more casting directors like moving over here as well, and like same thing like.
Well, I was listening to a thing there on the CBC podcast about one Native actor. She was like, it was so different. Like, this is the first time I worked with an Indigenous director, an Indigenous makeup artist. And she said that, I used to be the only Indigenous person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's in the movie industry, right? Like, we're making leaps and bounds in so many different places, right? Like, in BC, it seems to be culinary.
Yeah.
Wines, culinary, right?
Yeah.
Back east, or maybe like Manitoba and them, where they got mining and the casinos and stuff like that, right? So, like, we're making splashes out there.
I see lots of allies like rocking Indigenous fashions too, and it's nice because it's not the stuff that you go and you buy at like Ardene or Winners or anything. It's stuff that is purchased from actual like people who make these things like out of their home on their kitchen table, who stay up all night after they get their kids to bed and doing homework and all the chores and stuff. Like, you see allies now supporting us more and more.
Or a lot more people that want to reach out and be part of something, or even educate themselves, like on Indigenous stuff, right? Like,
or get more involved and have a better understanding.
Like, I think you were with Shop First Nations.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
There's another one that reach out, help people, right? Like, she came out and she visited when we're all out there, right? Like, like those are allies.
I'd love to have her here on the podcast. I think she'd be really fun to podcast.
Yeah, she's a cool person, man, and like I said, an ally, right? Like,
shout out to Chelsea Baker.
Yeah, we met through an Indigenous tourism, or a tourism thing that the Vernon was putting on. What do you call
Tourism
it?
BC.
It was tourism
Vernon
information
Tourism.
Zoom session or whatever, and then I just happened to put on there, like, I just started the food truck. Like, well, where do I start to get promoting my Indigenous business, right? Like, and then she emailed, hey, like, I do this. You're First Nations. Is there any way we can put something together? Or do you know of any ideas? And I was like, she came over. She did some things for us.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
No, I loved that when she would stop, like, because every day that we were there, she would show up there too, and she would show up every day to support, and see what was new and say hi to everybody, and I really loved seeing that, and you see more and more of that too. I remember meeting one lady at your stop, actually. I think it was when I was there with my friend Kat, and we had set up and we had our girly tent all set up, and we had this one lady stop in, and she was like, I had to come all the way out here and try some of this famous food I keep hearing about. And they had just moved from like South Africa. And because, like, political stuff over there has been like very scary. So she moved here for safety reasons because, they're white people from South Africa, and they have the accent and everything too. But, there's like murders and stuff happening over there to white people,
over there, man. Yep.
And super scary. And she came and she stopped in, and she was in full like tears because she was having a hard time with her kid. But she was like, she got her soul food. She came to Kat and I like hooked her up with some free swag, and we were like, you know what, go spray some lavender on your pillow. You go do this, you go do that. You just have like the most chill day when you get home. And she even said, she was like, I am so glad that I came to this spot because like something was just pulling me here. So I feel like that's like an energy thing at your location there. Is like, you guys have really good energy there.
That and good view.
Yeah.
Right? It's a great view. How could you not at least how can something negative not be knocked off when you're staring at a beautiful valley? You know what I mean?
Especially with the lake and then the sun going up, sun going down.
And then, just the positive around the business. Like, that's one of the biggest things that we do here, like, on my side and the Hazy side, is that, wow, like, we came back because you treated us well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that goes a long way. Like,
yeah. No, Michael's a sweetheart. I absolutely love every time that I stop in. It's always, hello, sweetheart. How are you? And as you said, I am amazing.
Yeah. He's a good jibber jabber, that's for sure.
Yeah, super sweet. Mm-hmm. One last question for you, Shane. And this is a big one. And you put whatever words you want into this. what are some words of wisdom that you can offer to other Indigenous entrepreneurs that are just starting out?
If you believe in your idea, your gut says it's a good idea, stick with it. You know, I suffered many setbacks that were deflating, and I wanted to quit so many times. And, you know, listen to your support. You know, they're there to support you, and they won't tell you. Like, you know, they'll let you know if you're, you know, don't give up, you know. Or, okay, well, maybe this isn't the path. Like, you know, those are some things I had to choke down that I didn't like to hear. Like, felt like I was getting one huge step forward, but get knocked 5 steps back, right? So it was like, then you just have to go, like, maybe you can't jump into the big picture right away, but take those baby steps.
I love that.
And that's quoted from my wife.
Shout out to Danny.
Yeah, when I was down and out, you know, she says, well, maybe your path isn't to get there right away. You know, maybe you have to go through these stages first.
You have to learn.
Yeah, and that's true, and it's worked out the best that way. Now I've just, you know, put my patient hat on and just said, okay, made some goals, right? And that's another thing. Make your goals, set the goals.
Yeah.
You know, networking is another big thing, right? You know, and like, yeah, just believe in yourself. Believe in it, you know. Shoot for the stars. If you fall once, get up and do it again.
Right on.
Right? Like, we're still climbing. We got lots to grow. Like, I can remember when I told Danielle, like, look, I got 155 people on my page now. And now, like, you know, after a year, I got over, I think it's 3,100 people now on my page.
I saw that.
So it's awesome. And it's people from all over, like, that may or may not even come to try the food, but root me on, or, you know, like the pictures, or, you know, say if I ever am that way, like, you know, like the message you read, right? Like,
yeah. I love that. I love seeing all those posts, and I love seeing that. And then one more thing I have to say too is your food truck reminds me of the barn burner truck on Twister.
Oh, I can't remember that one. That's
what?
I know the show.
The tornado movie.
Helen Hunt and
yeah.
I just remember Helen.
You know what? It's so funny because like when I saw the flames on your truck, I was like, "It's the barn burner."
Yeah, no, I can't remember that one. I know the show. I remember the show
because that was Philip Seymour Hoffman's car that he drove, and he had all those cool, like, he had all the monitors and stuff in his.
Yeah, I think I've started.
And he had the I think it's a megaphone or something on top of his van, or it's a truck, and he would blast his music so like everybody driving in line could hear it, and it was like the good vibe truck, and like that's what I see when I see your truck. It's the good vibes truck.
Right on, thanks.
Yeah, right on.
But yeah, we're gonna push away. Like I said, we're hoping for better times here coming up.
Yeah.
And, you know, our end goal is one day, like, you know, we're gonna rival. I want to rival McDonald's and A&W and Wendy's and be like the first Indigenous fast food chain.
Oh my gosh!
You know, I don't know if there is one. I don't know if I'm speaking out of text or not. I don't know if there already is one. But you know, that was kind of my end goal. Is like, hey, like, why not have a Bannock Slap Burgers drive-thru? Like,
yeah. But you know what? Like, there's room for everybody. And if there is somebody out there doing it already, no reason why you can't go forward with that. Yeah, then it comes
down to whose food's better. And we all know
once
you get slapped, you don't go back.
We all love a good cook-off, too. But I'm serious. We got to get that guy. What's his name? Guy Ferrari or Ferrari?
Guy's the one that does it in the States. I'll look up the...
What's the guy that does it here?
Is it the food truck? Drive and Dive, that one guy, or
maybe
there's like 3 different shows I kind of
food trucks, dine-ins.
No,
yeah, there's a
drivers, drive-ins, diners, and dives, and that's Guy
Fieri.
Yeah.
Okay,
but he's in the States.
We got to get him over here. I mean, I know it's all like,
there's got to be some. Well, here's another little sneak little tidbit. Like, I don't know what's come of it yet, but there was a thing circulating. I don't know if you've seen it on the entrepreneurship stuff. There's the Bears Lair.
Ooh, and that's the Bears Lair.
It's like the APTN version of the Dragon's Den.
Dragon's Den.
So we did up a what do you call it? I don't want to say interview video. A video to
apply.
Application video. We sent it in. So never know. We're hoping for cross fingers. Maybe I can win some money to start that dream of.
Maybe that food chain's
Yeah,
happening.
well, like you got to understand, like when you think big like that, like I want to do it at our spot. So then people will say at the bare minimum, oh, hey, that's where Bannock Slaps is over there. Like really, like when you think about it as a member, okay, West Bank's known for they got Walmart and all this,
And
kind of a
Kakuli.
city, like, and
Yeah.
then Osoyoos has got wines, golf courses, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, what are we known for? Like, if you're going to say something, yeah, come to Vernon because, you could come to our reserve and do this. Like, well, we don't have nothing, right? And I think right now I kind of, like we kind of do with the pot shops, like I said, and it's created that bubble where people are coming out. Yeah, the Green Mile. But, so that's what my goal is, like, to come out on top. Like, hey, be the number one destination. Like, go
Put
here.
us on the map.
Go here. Yeah, they got food. They got dope. Like, I got other things that I want to incorporate.
We got the two best things that go together so well.
And then, like, so I entered this contest, so hopefully, like, a guy could win a little bit of something to maybe start some infrastructure, right? Like, because you got to get water, sewage. Like, we already have power there, but those things cost a lot of money. Like, to pave the level of the ground, build the, pavement. Like, it's going to cost quite a bit of money, right?
I know, right? It's amazing to have the vision in your head, and then when you go to do the actual work, like you said, like you have to jump through loops, and if you want it, like you got to keep going no matter what the setback is.
And I understand why. Like I got a little bit easier because I can operate on the reserve.
Yeah.
But I understand why when you don't when people fail in town is because like. It seems like you get dinged for everything. The system takes and takes and takes and takes and never lets you build up anything.
You hear that, y'all? Shane is on your side. Don't come barking at him.
Unless you, unless you have that one miracle product that strikes you rich right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And I'm just blessed. Like, I get to operate on my silk territory. Yeah. And one day it's going to be a destination for non and Indigenous people. Yeah. And it already kind of is for Indigenous people. I get a lot of different reserves or, even like, well, the one lady, I'm like, she was, she had a real thick accent. I'm like, hey, you're not from around here. And she's like, no, we're from way up north there somewhere. I can't remember what she said. And she's like, my granddaughter seen you on TikTok. And she said, stop here, try this. Because they were going to the hospital in Kelowna, right? So, like, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's, one
You
day.
guys are on TikTok?
Yeah, man.
Oh, shoot. I gotta add you.
Anybody out there listening, like, I'm one with all the hats. So, like, I'm the social media guru. I'm the cook, I'm the salesman. I'm like, so sometimes I don't get to all of them all the time. So the main one is the Facebook. I stick on that one mainly, and I try to trickle it out to the other ones when I can.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're on all three sites. So if you're looking for us, it's Bannock Slap Burgers and Indian Tacos, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
Right on. I love that. I've been dabbling in doing the reels on Instagram. So my plan is to focus on the reels on Instagram, get good at that, and then I'll attempt TikTok again. Because I've been trying with TikTok, and I'm like, I can't make it work as good as those people can.
Like, can I tell you, like, I felt shame. Like, I got shamed on TikTok. Like, whenever, people telling, like, how people attack.
Oh, yeah, trolls.
So, I kind of got attacked. And it may not have been major, but, like, I was telling my wife, they're like, wow, like, I understand now why people might go off and hurt themselves or, like, start getting into, mental issues. It's like, I was like, that's why I kind of stepped away from that one.
Trolls are crazy.
Yeah,
they're
I'm just like,
deadly
what? I don't
and not
even
in
know
a good
you.
way.
And like, yeah, man, I was like, holy. But it's switched now. Like, I get a little more used to how to use it and what to do. Right? It's a lot of it's figured out.
There's the beautiful block, delete, report thing, and I use that thing on the daily, honestly. And what's crazy too, and this is going to be like my piece of advice for you. I've been talking to quite a few amazing, like really amazing Indigenous TikTokers and what are they called? Influencers?
Yeah.
And I've been talking to a few of them. And because I was experiencing some of that too, like some crazy troll messages, but I have it set so that my page will like filter those things out. So I'll see them.
Keywords. Yeah.
So they'll go to a certain place that I actually have to physically go and look at. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing what some people write, because you're like, wow, like
Just
you
haters,
are telling me some really rude things here that, you know, would be held up in a place of court. Like you'd go to jail for that if I reported you. And I've talked to, who was it? Laura Grizzly Paws. I was talking to her, and she's like, I get messages like that all the time, and it's sad.
That rabbit hole's great, and I don't want to be like, I'll do my best to try to keep it.
With fame comes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I just, you know, here's a picture of my burger. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
hope you like food.
Yeah, I'd rather have the fame where they come and hey, this is great, and just keep it all positive. I don't need somebody that. Not ever gonna come to my place and just wants put negative things, because that's what they do, right? Like,
just hating.
Mm-hmm.
They're in that place that, you know, that dark place that we always send them prayers and like hope that they heal from that, right? Because we don't need any of that in the world. We don't want to be surrounded by that. It's not like a get bent buddy kind of thing. It's like, fix yourself.
Yeah, like, okay, it's time for you to start healing yourself. Like, you don't need to project this negative energy on everybody, right? Like,
yeah. Okay, I know I said I only had one last question, but I do have one more question. Who made your medallion?
This one, a friend of mine from Burns Lake area made it there. Nice. Lloydie Jr. Yeah, it's a beautiful medallion. I love it.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite ones. I have a collection of them, but it's one of my favorite ones.
Is it for Superman or is it for Shane?
Oh, it's Superman, but like, he's always been my favorite hero.
Yeah,
right?
I love that.
Yeah.
Right on. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast, Shane. This was a lot of fun. We definitely got to have you back with Cody in the studio too.
Yeah, man. I'd love to talk about other things, what's relevant or whatever you guys feel like. This is great. Thank you for the invite. And thank you to everybody who's listening and who's going to watch. Stop by Bannock Slaps. Come hungry, leave full.
Heck yeah. And you guys got to try the fries. Seriously.
Garlic.
Yeah, if you love your garlic... These are the fries.
Won't be kissing after, but it's great garlic.
That's right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Intertribal Talk season 9, episode 9. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.
White.
Have a great one. White.